The evidence to be presented by the prosecution will establish substantial grounds to believe that Mr. Francis Kirimi Muthaura, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and Mohammed Hussein Ali are individually responsible for the crimes mentioned, and as a consequence, the pretrial chamber should commit them for trial. The perpetrators used the local inhabitants in Nakuru and Naivasha to identify and target the ODM supporters. They went from house to house and door to door, attacking the civilians, dragging them from their homes or their business premises, showing a systematic and well-organized operation. The attackers followed an organizational policy, identifying the perceived supporters of the ODM when they were fleeing, intercepting them in their flight, cutting them with machetes, and clubbing them. They commit rape, including gang rape of the mothers, wives, and daughters of perceived ODM supporters, and forcibly circumcised the men. These are the crimes that tomorrow will provide in detail the evidence that prove them. Madam President, Your Honors, the defense teams are inviting the Chamber to embark in a sort of in-depth scrutiny of the credibility and reliability of individual pieces of prosecution evidence. That is not possible. The confirmation hearing is neither a mini-trial nor a trial before the trial. As Your Honor has said as a single judge in the Kenya 1 case, the presentation of witness evidence by way of written statement is to be considered the norm, given the nature and purpose of the hearing. Therefore, the prosecution submits that the fair assessment of the credibility and reliability of its witness can only be made after the credibility, reliability, and consistency of the evidence has been fully explored through questioning and cross-examination of the witness at trial. The credibility of the witness, of the prosecution witnesses, should be discussed at trial. What matters at this stage, at the confirmation of charges, is that the different pieces of evidence are consistently proving each element of the crimes. And on this, the prosecution witness corroborate each other, and their information is independently corroborated by evidence produced by different reports and the National Security Intelligence Service reports. An intervention of the International Criminal Court is required to end the use of violence to gain or to maintain political power in Kenya. For these reasons, the prosecutor considers that the evidence prove, in accordance with the standards, the individual responsibility of the suspect, and they should be committed to trial. Thank you very much, Madam President, for your attention.
Other parties to the case, in particular the defense, they have the benefit of having their clients present with them in court. I do not. It's quite obvious that the 233 victims that I represent are not here today. They are to be found in various provinces in Kenya, thousands of miles away from the seat of the court. Most of my victims are to be found in the Rift Valley province of Kenya, as well as the Nyanza province of Kenya. Nonetheless, Madam President, Your Honors, those victims are here today in spirit. These victims, I have found, are astute. They are informed and they are engaged in the process. They are determined to see that justice is done. All of them have had their lives changed forever, and they will not be silenced during the course of these proceedings. Many of them want the opportunity to restart their lives, lives that have been turned upside down and completely destroyed. many of them are looking for restoration. They want things to revert back to how they were. A male victim that met with me was asked what he wanted me to tell the court, and he said, quote, "I just want the court to know I want my life back."
For me to be presented in this court as a monster by information gathered, I would say from the bush, I really feel very sad. I have my family here. You can see them. They have not slept well for the last 1 year since the prosecutor pronounced me as a suspect. Ironically, any time the prosecutor came to Nairobi, we sat across the table. He always passed in front of my office. I escorted him to his car. He never, at any time, mentioned to me I was a suspect. I would have given him answers to the issues that he thinks he has, which actually are nothing. At the end of it, it's not Muthaura who is going to be in this court tried. It's the prosecutor who is going to be tried. For the 2 months, January, February 2008, my movement was very specific. My office is in Harambee House, where every day for 2 months, I chaired the meeting of the National Security and Advisory Committee because the country was on fire. Mungiki is a proscribed criminal organization in the country. I'm secretary of the cabinet, head of public service. How do I get myself entangled with the criminal organization? What benefit could I be having? What benefit? I sit, and I want to be clear here, Madam President. I've never run for a political office. I don't belong to PNU. We have to separate political parties and the competition for power and the civil service. The civil service that I had today.
Because it points in only one direction, and that is that the charges cannot be confirmed. Your Honours, every aspect of this case has been dissected. Prosecution witnesses who say that they're in, say individuals are in Nairobi, they're proved to be elsewhere. Individuals who are said to be in office, we have proved documents that they have retired. Members that are said to be Mungiki, we have other evidence that they're not members of Mungiki. People that say that they're scared of Mungiki, we have evidence from them asking for the Mungikis to make them Facebook friends. The prosecution say that on the 3rd of January, Ambassador Muthaura had a critical meeting. You have the NSAC minutes that prove on the 3rd of January, he was in Harambee House at NSAC with all the individuals that the ambassador mentioned earlier. Your Honour, the last point is, you have evidence that in the afternoon, he was there on video with the President of the Republic who gave a speech. And Your Honour, we didn't stop there. You have the telephone records of the ambassador that show who he called. And General Ali was not called at that time. Your Honour, the burden is not on us. It is on the prosecution. But we have done what the prosecution has failed to do. And we say, with great sincerity, that questions have been raised in this case that go beyond the central issue which are whether or not the charges should be confirmed. But on that critical issue for the ambassador, we say, Your Honours, reviewing all the evidence that we'll put forward over the next few days, we'll come to only one conclusion, and that is to dismiss these charges, not to confirm these charges. And Your Honours, we have every trust that you will do so. I'm grateful for your time.
These proceedings arise from a course of conduct connected and commenced by senior ODM politicians and activists before the December 2007 elections in Kenya, in which they were determined to cry that if they lost the election, then it was stolen from them. Their cries were not to be made by a plea to the judicial process for an orderly and proper challenge in the courts to the validity of the electoral results. No, their cries were to be to their supporters as a call to arms to attack their political opponents and to create such civil disturbance and violence so as to make Kenya ungovernable and cause the elected government to surrender and enable them to take power. This technique of challenging the democratic process by such means is not new. It was witnessed in Ukraine in 2004 when another orange democratic movement carried out precisely the same strategy. This was a copycat production that was organized with foreign assistance, not for the benefit of Kenya, but for the benefit of those senior ODM politicians.
Hakuna mtu ambaye anafukuzwa kwa sababu yule ambaye atataka kubaki, na mimi nimesema kwa ukweli, na Bwana DC muhakikishe ya kwamba kila shamba hapa iko na askari ya kutosha, ndio wale ambao wataona ya kwamba watataka kubaki waweze kubaki wakiwa na usalama.
The transcript is at EVD 00391, ringtail 0116. It says this: no one is being chased away because the one who would like to remain, and I am telling the truth, and Mr. District Commissioner, ensure that every farm has enough police officers so that those who feel that they want to remain are able to remain safely. These are not the words of a man taking revenge against people in order to retain power. So how has it come about that he has been brought here? There has been a clear political decision by the prosecution to bring 3 people from each side and put them on trial, to make a case fit against both sides, to construct a case without a proper investigation of the evidence and with complete disregard of the facts.
The period following the 2007 Kenyan presidential election was a horrific, brutal, and a very disturbing time. Communities were torn apart by violent attacks. Families were shattered by inexplicable killings. The time of post-election violence in Kenya was a time of unimaginable loss. And that, Your Honours, is beyond dispute. General Mohammed Hussein Ali, a dedicated public servant with a lifelong career of devoted commitment to his country and to his fellow men, felt that loss keenly. During the post-election violence, he worked tirelessly to protect the Kenyan people and to enforce the rule of law. General Ali pushed his officers and himself to prevent violent attacks in towns like Naivasha and Nakuru. Facing unimaginable odds, and when the situation in the Rift Valley was at its worst, General Ali personally directed his officers to maintain law and order. He beefed up security patrols with a view to avert attacks and avoid violence. He ordered supervisors to ensure that officers were encouraged and appreciated for their work.
And this is in all the evidence that we show during our submissions.
I submit to your honors at the end of the day, for legal reasons, sufficiency, admissibility, but even for the factual reasons, you will come to only one conclusion and only one conclusion only, that these charges will not be confirmed. But in a more general language and in a more conversational language, I hope you hearken back when you're in your deliberations to the question that I asked at the outset, which is, why is General Ali here? Why? Because there is no reason for it. No reason whatsoever, and the prosecution is not ever going to be able to establish that reason.